Welcome to Timeless Tales, a place where ancient voices speak again, where we travel together through memory, magic, and mystery. Tonight, let me take you far away, to a village where hunger whispered through the nights, to a forest where spirits watched and waited, to a story you will never forget. Tonight, listen well, for this is Ogwugwu's Calabash of endless yams. Far beyond the winding rivers and the great red hills, there was a village called Neek. It was small, but alive with color and sound. Imagine the huts, round, built from clay rich as rust, their thatched roofs golden under the sun. The scent of roasting maize drifted through the air. Palm oil sizzled in clay pots, sending up sweet, nutty smoke. Children chased each other, their laughter bright and wild as they darted between goats and chickens. Old women sang while weaving mats, their voices like the wind through dry grass. And each evening, when the sun bled gold into the horizon, drums spoke softly from distant compounds, beating time with the heartbeat of the earth. But listen closer. Beneath the songs and laughter was a quiet ache. For seasons had passed without rain enough. The yam mounds, once proud, crumbled. Thin shoots withered. And each harvest brought less and less. At night, families sat around smoky fires, chewing slowly, stretching what little they had. Mothers whispered comfort to children whose stomachs growled in the dark. The elders gathered under the great ofo tree, their faces shadowed, their voices low. They spoke of omens, of debts unpaid to the spirits, of whether the land itself had turned away. Among these people lived a young farmer. Strong, quiet, kind. His hands were calloused from work, his back bent from endless digging. He was not rich, but he shared what little he had, a handful of maize here, a calabash of water there. Each night, after the day's labor, he stood alone at the edge of his field, staring at the cracked earth under the starlit sky. And in the solitude of night, he spoke softly, as if the wind might carry his words to the gods. Is there no help for us? Must we starve until we vanish? One night, under a full moon so bright it silvered the trees, an elder beckoned him aside. The old man's eyes were cloudy with age, but his voice held the weight of memory. He told of a legend, whispered only in moments of desperation. Deep in the heart of the sacred forest, past the paths known to man, lay a grove untouched by time. At its center rested a calabash unlike any other. It was the gift of Ogwugwu, the mother of the forest, the spirit who wove life into the soil. From this calabash poured endless yams, rich, golden, unspoiled. But Ogwugwu's gifts were dangerous. Those who sought them faced trials of the spirit and the flesh. And those who sought in greed were never seen again. The young farmer listened, heart pounding. Hope, sharp and painful, flared in his chest. If the story was true, if he could find it, his people might live. Before the first rooster crowed, he packed his satchel, a lantern to light the dark, a machete to clear the way, colonnuts and palm wine for offering, and a strip of cloth from his mother's wrapper for courage. He stepped into the forest as the village slept. The air was cool, scented with damp leaves and night-blooming flowers. At first, the path was familiar, soft earth beneath his feet, the distant croak of frogs. But soon the way narrowed. The trees closed in, tall and ancient, their roots twisting like coiled serpents. Vines brushed his shoulders. Shadows shifted. Hours passed. Birds awoke, filling the canopy with song. He waded through a shallow stream, the water cold against his skin, tiny silver fish darting away from his steps. A bright green lizard watched from a rock, head bobbing. He climbed over fallen logs, ducked under low branches heavy with moss. The deeper he went, the stranger it became. He found a grove where butterflies gathered, hundreds of them, their wings flashing like living jewels. He saw a tree whose bark glistened like copper, warm to the touch, humming faintly under his hand. He passed an abandoned shrine, its offerings long rotted, its wooden idol worn by time. And then he began to hear it, a low hum, faint but steady, like distant singing carried on the wind. As he followed the sound, the forest tested him. First came a swarm of biting ants that poured from a fallen log, crawling up his legs. He gritted his teeth, using his cloth to sweep them away, refusing to turn back. Then, as the sun dipped low, the path split into three. Each path looked the same, shrouded in vines. He knelt, closing his eyes, listening. To the left, only silence. To the right, the cry of hunting birds. But straight ahead, faint and soft, that mysterious hum. He followed it. Night fell. The forest glowed with moonlight. Fireflies floated like embers. And then he saw movement, a shadow between the trees. It darted away, laughing softly. He followed, stumbling over roots, deeper and deeper until he burst into another clearing. There stood a woman, tall, clothed in leaves and moonlight, her eyes bright as stars. She did not speak, only pointed toward the deeper darkness. And as quickly as she appeared, she was gone. He followed her gesture, trembling. At last, after a night and a day of walking, he found it. A circle of iroko trees, their trunks so wide it would take 10 men to encircle one. Roots coiled like serpents, flowers bloomed in impossible colors, glowing faintly. Insects hummed in reverence. And there, on a stone altar covered in moss, rested the calabash. It was small yet infinite. Its surface shimmered, carvings alive with movement, yam vines twisting, faces appearing and fading, eyes blinking slowly. The air was thick with the scent of rain and ripe harvests. The hum grew louder, vibrating in his bones. He stepped forward. The wind stilled, and a voice spoke, not loud, but so vast it filled the grove. "Why do you seek my gift?" He dropped to his knees, forehead to the earth, voice breaking as he spoke. Of his people's suffering, of hunger and fading hope, of children crying in the night. He asked not for wealth, but for salvation. The voice whispered, "Endless bounty demands endless care. Will you guard it from greed? Will you honor me?" His answer was sure. Light flared, warm as the sun, wrapping the calabash. When he touched it, it throbbed like a heartbeat in his hands. And the voice faded. "Go feed your people. But remember, greed is a fire that consumes." He returned at dawn, eyes hollow with exhaustion but bright with triumph. He placed the calabash in his hut and lifted the lid. And then, a rush of yams poured forth, golden and smooth, rolling across the floor, filling baskets, spilling through the doorway. The air filled with a rich, sweet scent. He laughed, tears streaming. Villagers came running. Gasps of wonder turned to shouts of joy. Children danced, clutching yams bigger than their heads. Mothers wept as they cooked, the scent of spicy porridge filling the air. Drums beat, feet stamped, voices rose in song. That night, Neek celebrated like never before, dancing, singing, feasting until the stars wheeled high. But blessings can stir envy. And envy, if left unchecked, can turn men's hearts dark. On a moonless night, shadows slunk toward the hut. They moved silently, hearts pounding with greed. Hands reached for the calabash. But the forest had not forgotten. The air thickened, heavy as storm clouds. The ground shivered, and the voice of Ogwugwu roared through the night. "Did you think my gift could be stolen?" Wind screamed. Vines lashed like living whips. The thieves cried out, their voices swallowed by the dark. And when morning came, they were gone, vanished into the forest forever. The young farmer stood before his people. "This gift is not mine," he said. "It is for us all. But we must honor it and honor she who gave it." And they did. Year after year, the calabash never emptied. At every harvest, they poured libations into the earth. They sang songs to the forest, telling every child the lesson that the gifts of the earth are sacred, and greed can turn blessings into curses. Travelers came from distant lands, marveling at the endless bounty. And the elders would lean in, voices soft, telling the tale. A young farmer once met a goddess in the heart of the forest, and returned with a calabash that never emptied. Even now, when the moon is bright and the night is still, they say you can hear her voice in the wind, whispering. Remember, gifts are sacred. Gratitude keeps them alive. You've been listening to Timeless Tales, and this was Ogwugwu's Calabash of Endless Yams. If this story carried you away tonight, let it live on. Like, share, and subscribe for more journeys into the old magic of our world. Until we meet again, may your nights be peaceful, may your days be blessed, and may your own calabash never run dry.